Hey, welcome back, and welcome to what is sure to be one of the shortest videos out of this entire video series. In this video, I want to introduce you to another Exchange Server management tool, the Exchange Admin Center. Now, you've already seen one of the management tools, the Exchange Management Shell, in the previous video. Now, the Exchange Management Shell is Microsoft's preferred tool for managing Exchange Server. Anything at all that you need to do as with regard to managing Exchange Server can be done through the Exchange Management Shell. But as you've already seen, the Exchange Management Shell is a command line environment. And let's face it, sometimes it's just easier to use a GUI environment. And that's what the management tool that I'm about to show you is. It's called the Exchange Admin Center, and it's the graphical interface for managing Exchange Server. Now, before I show you what the Exchange Admin Center looks like, I need to point out that the Exchange Admin Center is somewhat limited. It's fine for handling day-to-day management of Exchange, but if you need to do anything special, such as making a topology change or that sort of thing, chances are you're going to have to go to the Exchange Management Shell to do that. So think of the Exchange Admin Center as being a good shortcut. There's a lot that you can do with it, and the bulk of your day-to-day work can be handled through the Exchange Admin Center, but you're certainly not going to be able to do everything with it. There are going to be times you're going to have to delve into the Exchange Management Shell. The last video was a perfect example of that, because in that video, I had to set up an Edge subscription, and I could only do that through the command line. I wasn't able to do that through the GUI. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Exchange Administrative Center. Now, the Exchange Admin Center is a web-based interface, so we have to access it through a browser. Now, Microsoft does give us a shortcut. Right now, I'm on one of my mailbox servers, and if I click the Start button and click the down arrow, and then go over to the Exchange section, we can see that there's a shortcut to the Exchange Administrative Center. But keep in mind, I'm accessing the Exchange Administrative Center directly from an Exchange server right now, and we don't have to do that. The interface is browser-based, so I can access it from any machine. So that being the case, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and just pause the video for a second, and I'm going to open up a browser just on my desktop computer, and I'll pull the Exchange Admin Center up from there. So right now I've got a browser up on my desktop computer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the URL for the Exchange Admin Center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type https:// and this particular machine doesn't use the same DNS server as my Exchange Lab environment, so I'm not going to be able to address the server by name. Typically, right here, you would type the fully qualified domain name of your Exchange server. So if I were doing that, in this case, it would be exch1.posydemo.com. But as I said, I'm using a different DNS server that has no knowledge of my Exchange environment, so I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm just going to have to get to this by using the IP address instead. So the IP address of that particular lab machine is 147.100.100.229. And then I have to add /ECP. So why ECP? Well, before the Exchange Admin Center came to be known as the Exchange Admin Center, it was known as the Exchange Control Panel. So that's where ECP comes from, Exchange Control Panel. So I'm going to go ahead and press Enter, and I get a certificate error. Now, the reason why I'm getting a certificate error is because I'm trying to access this particular website by using its IP address rather than using its name. I'm going to scroll up here just to make this browser window full screen, and I'm going to go ahead and go onto the web page because I know it's safe. I'm only getting this error message because I'm going to the web page by IP address rather than by site name. And that's going to bring up the Exchange Admin Center. So I have to log in by entering my domain/username and my password for Exchange. So my domain is posydemo, and I'll log in as the domain admin, and I'll type my password and click sign in. And I'm not going to worry about saving my password. Now, because this is the very first time that I've ever accessed the Exchange Admin Center for this deployment, I'm asked a couple of questions. I'm asked what language I want to use. English is good with me. And I'm asked about my time zone. I live on the East Coast of the United States, so that's what I'm going to use is Eastern Time. So I'll click Save. And after a brief delay, I'm taken into the Exchange Admin Center. If this looks familiar to you, it's probably because Microsoft Office 365 uses a very similar interface. So What we have here is on the left side, we have some containers, and these are basically just groups of functions. So the one that's selected is recipients. So over on the right, we have tabs that all have to do with recipients. So we have recipient mailboxes, and then we have groups of recipients, resources, contacts, shared, migration, things like that. Then we have permissions. So if I select the permissions tab, then we should see things that are related to permissions. Things like admin roles, user roles, Outlook web app policies. Then we have compliance management. And when I click that, we have tabs that are related to compliance. Things like in-place e-discovery and hold, auditing, data loss prevention, retention policies, retention tags, journal rules. So we have a lot in the Exchange Admin Center, but certainly not access to everything. There are a lot of things that we have to use the Exchange Management Shell for. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these tabs right now because you'll be seeing the vast majority of these options throughout this video series as we go along. My purpose in this video was just to familiarize you with the Exchange Admin Center and to show you how to access it. So that's going to do it for this lesson, and I'm going to pick it up in the next lesson by talking about some post-deployment tasks and some basic administrative functions that you might perform.